Welcome to the Women Writing Podcast. I'm your book coach, Liisa Kovala. I'm a certified fiction and memoir book coach and the author of Like Water for Weary Souls, Sisters Winter War, and Surviving Struthof, and the Hygge House Nordic Cozy Mystery Series. As a Finnish Canadian, I also love my coffee. Take a coffee break with us as we chat about all things writerly with authors and publishing industry professionals. And don't forget to sign up for my Women Writing newsletter on Substack and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great content. In today's episode of Women Writing, I'm having a coffee break with Randi-Lee Bouslaugh. Randi is a mental health advocate, author, and YouTube host of The Write or Die Show. She started writing at 14 years old as a coping strategy for her depression. 20 years later, she is now a mom, grandma, and a thriving creative individual. Hi, Randi-Lee. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's so nice to see you again. I was on your podcast. I don't even know. A while back.
A while back, but also it feels like time goes so fast that not that long ago.
Yeah, 100%. I know. It's so strange. So it's so fun to have you here. And so I always ask this question of folks. So we're taking a little coffee break. I know that you've just come home from work. Are you having coffee, tea, water, snack time?
When I come home from work, I usually go straight to making dinner.
Yeah.
Straight away. I take my coat off. I let the dogs outside and then I pull out stuff for dinner. So, 100%. I mean, does that count as an answer?
100%. And it's kind of later in the day for us. So I'm like, I've had my last coffee too. Like I can't, or I will not sleep. So there's some point.
Well, I don't like coffee.
Oh, okay.
So I don't.
Yeah.
But there's this really cute, I was about to say coffee shop, but it's not a coffee shop. Little cute, what do they call it? Nutrition bar is what they call it, but around the corner from my work. So we go there very frequently and get basically energy drinks, but way less sugar in them. Yeah. They're like a healthier version.
Yeah.
Like it's like juice with caffeine.
Right. Amazing. I love it. That would be a go-to, especially when it's so close by, right? You'd be like,
it's literally right around the corner.
Perfect. I love it so much. Oh, so good. So we want to talk about all kinds of things today. I'm so excited. Tell me about your writing life. Like, when did you start writing? What did that look like? Did you start when you're a kid or when you're older?
Oh my goodness. Way back in the day. Literally my entire life. Like, I don't remember a time when I wasn't writing something. And I always like to tell this hilarious little story. So when I was little, back when DOS was a thing, back on those old days, what was it like? It wasn't even called Microsoft Word. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was like way back in the day and the screen was all blue and you'd type and so vivid memories of that. Anyway, so I would write a household newspaper. What was mom cooking for dinner? What was the movie we watched? What is my review of the movie? And then I would make my mom and stuff read it because obviously she didn't already know.
That's right. But also it's important that she gets your perspective on it, right?
Right?
You have to get your thoughts about what happened. Did she love it? Or was she also like, oh my gosh, don't tell me about it?
I think she did that parent fake love where it's like, wow, that's so cool. Please tell me some more. Whereas as a kid, you don't realize that they're being completely sarcastic and are not listening at all. I totally get that now as a parent. I've got that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's so awesome. I also had a little neighborhood newsletter or newspaper for a while as well, little drawings and what was happening, and apparently nothing was happening in the news in the neighborhood, but I wrote about it anyways. So it's funny how these things happen, right? You very early on, there's this need to write, to record things, to document it, to like express yourself. It's such an integral thing, I think, for a lot of us.
Yeah. And then it turned into writing little plays and skits and like puppet shows, and I'd make my cousins do them with me. And here we are.
I'm sure they loved every minute. Do they look back on that time fondly now and say, oh, I remember what?
Well, I mean, the one might not remember because he's really into drugs. The other one The other one probably does.
Yeah, that'd be a fun conversation. Like, do you remember when I used to make you?
I always say, remember that time when I convinced you to wear a dress because it was part of the play?
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's the one I like to bring up.
I love that. That's awesome. That's how it should be. It should be like just whatever character is required. You gotta fit the bill.
And it was like a lot of convincing. It was a lot of convincing, but I did it, and I have one picture of it, and they were like, "No!" And it was amazing. Very funny.
Yeah, you do need documentation of all the things you do as a kid.
Exactly. So fun. The torture you put your cousins through.
Exactly. I love it so much. So you are also the host of the Ride or Die podcast. Can you tell us about that podcast?
I sure can. The podcast that you were on not that long ago, really? The one that you'll probably come back on another day.
Sure.
So it's called the Write or Die Show, right? Like you're writing something. And I talk to other writers, although I use writers very loosely because I've had people, basically, if you've written literally anything, doesn't have to be a book necessarily, you're invited on the show. I love having those people that like a songwriter or screenplay just because it's different. Anyway, so they come on and we talk mental health. We just have a conversation like we're doing. We talk about mental health from their personal journeys. And then I randomly interrupt with all of my crazy questions and off-track minds. It's a lot of fun. Hard conversations, but we have fun while we do it.
Yeah, 100%. It's really fun to be having those conversations, and you talk about some really difficult subject matters, but it feels like I don't know, the word that came to mind is normalized, and I don't know if that's the right word, but I just feel like that
I like that word for it,
kind of like just accepting that this is how things are. And we are all going through something,
right? So I like the word normalize for it. I like it because that's kind of the goal, is it should be a normal thing to talk about. Like when I go, oh my gosh, I had COVID before twice, and oh, my throat was scratchy and this and that. It should be exactly the same type of conversation. Oh my gosh, I had depression and I couldn't get up and I ate a whole pint of ice cream. Oh, right. Yeah. It should be the same thing. There should be no like, I was just sick. You don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, it is interesting, right? If it's physical, it feels like it's easier to talk about, or like there doesn't seem to be as much stigma. But when it's mental, and not that, I mean, even the words physical and mental, I mean, aren't they all connected? But anyways,
they totally are, but they've been for so long. They've been separated. But like, if you are ill, you are ill. If you're sick, you're sick. Like, separating them helps, I guess, for the doctors to differentiate. But really, if I'm sick because I'm having a bout of depression, I'm sick. Like it's a 100%. Disease I live with. Like that's just what it is.
I agree. And I feel like so many things go hand in hand. If you have a physical ailment or a disease or long-term issues, there's going to be mental repercussions on that, and vice versa. Like a lot of things manifest when we're, depressed or have anxiety. They just manifest in our bodies. So like, it's really hard to kind of go like one or the other, but yeah, you're right. I think doctors need to distinguish them so they can figure out what the base. I'm no doctor or nurse, but like,
but this is what we're assuming.
Be able to treat it. Yeah, but we're gonna give our opinion.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, you gotta figure you're not gonna go in with a hurt wrist and be like, oh, I'm just so sore. Okay, but where? Just around. Okay, but where? Like you have to differentiate what part of you hurts. So it's the same thing, I guess, in that way.
We need to treat it. We need to figure out what's actually going on there for sure. So a lot of your work in your writing and in your podcast and your discussion and the speaking is about mental health issues and other issues that folks have. So at what point in your life did you go, oh, this is what I need to write about? Was that when you come across that when you're little and start just journaling, or was that something that came about?
So I definitely had like an epiphany moment, but I'll get to that. So I started writing mental health kind of styles as a teenager. Poetry. Imagine that. Using poetry in the moments. I did it a lot. It's so funny. I wrote so much of it during English class in high school, but I'd be getting in trouble for not paying attention. I'm like, I'm literally writing stuff. I'm in English class and I'm writing stuff in English, and they're like, no, you need to pay attention. I'm like, but I'm 3 chapters ahead of you in the book.
Yeah.
So
Right.
why?
It's fine.
Anyways, so I was doing that. Later, I learned that was a coping strategy for dealing with the depression that I didn't know that was what I was having at the time or doing, but that's, what happens. But about 10-ish years ago, I would say now, is when the epiphany moment happened. So it's midnight, nice and dark. I just want to go to bed. I'm so tired. My kid, 9 years old, having a complete and utter meltdown. She's just bawling her eyes out. She's 9. She had attempted suicide previously that year. We were trying to figure out what was going on. She had been diagnosed with autism and all these things, and she's just bawling her eyes out because she was bullied so bad at school. I'm going, why am I different? Why don't anybody like me? Like, just all these questions, right, that we ask ourselves. Why are people so darn mean? And it dawned on me at that time that she doesn't realize that she is not the only one that's ever experienced this. Mm-hmm. And that is the moment that I went, I need to talk about it. I need to normalize the conversation of it. Mm-hmm. That was the epiphany moment. Didn't know how I was doing it at the time. And then one of our grandparents died. I can't remember who it was. My grandma or my husband's grandparent. But anyway, so we're cleaning out the basement because that's what you do when people die, apparently. Mm-hmm. And I came across all the poems that I had written as a teenager. Yeah. I went, wow, these are actually pretty good. I'm reading them. I'm like, wow, they're just living in my basement. What am I going to do with them? Well, I always said I was going to write a book. I'm just going to use these. So I used those, put them in a blanket fort. I made myself a blanket fort to do this. And I typed them all up onto the computer, and I went, okay, now I need to add a little beginning. I need to add a little end, just some context, because if I'm going to talk about mental health, I don't want to just do poetry. I want a little context. So I did that. And I went, I wrote a book. Cool. I always said I was going to write a book, and now I wrote a book. And that was that. But as you know, once you write a book, you just keep going. So that's not only how I decided that I was going to speak up about it, but also the story of how I started really being an author.
That's so good. I mean, so many things happening there. Like, I think as young people, like, if I think about not that to suggest that every writer is struggling with something, but also we know that that's a way to understand what's going on, to put it on paper, to release something, to make sense of it. Yes. Like, and poetry is so powerful. And like, there's always, like, I taught English, so apologies to all the students out there who had the English teacher who was like, no, stop writing poetry in my class. No.
Well, I hope you never told anybody to stop writing well in English class, because I mean, it turned out pretty darn good for me.
Exactly. I mean, hello. But yeah, like, I think poetry is such a powerful way of expressing oneself. And what I love about kids and teens is they don't have the hangups about writing poetry the same way as if you tell an adult, I don't know, 30 years old, okay, but you're going to write poetry. They're going to be like, no.
Right. I know.
But kids and adult or young people can really like tune into that in a less self-conscious way. Like, they may not share it with all kinds of people, but they'll write it to express themselves. And so it's just amazing that you came in and that you found those poems kind of like the serendipitous time.
Right. It like was when your daughter's crazy.
Struggling. Did you share those poems with her then? Or like, what happened there? Did she?
So I'm trying to remember, because I mean, it's a decade ago now. I don't think I specifically shared them with her, because like, I'm talking, these were dark, like literally about killing myself, some of them, and what that would then look like or feel like. So I didn't want to share too much of that, but just more the hey, you're not alone. I've also like more of the smaller stuff, because being 9 at the time, and for those who might know a little bit about autism, I mean, she's 9, but not with her understanding of things. So I didn't share those poems specifically, although I mean, it's not like I also hid them in the house. I mean, I got books everywhere here, so you could easily pick them up.
Right 100%.
And now she watches my show every once in a while, or some of the interviews I do, and she was like, I didn't know that about you. And I'm like, you're my kid. You didn't necessarily need to know that about me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But she's older now and she's able to understand more of those things. No, and just even as a parent, just looking back at yourself as a younger person and going, oh yeah, I can relate to the experiences, the feelings. Like they're so intense when you're young. Everything
oh
just
my gosh,
ridiculously intense. And in the moment, it feels like it's, it could be over. But like now when you're an adult, you can sort of understand it in a different way.
Exactly.
And have the tools to be able to cope in another way. So I think like, I just love that you found that in the basement. It's so good. It's such a great thing. So that was that the first book then? What was it called?
Thoughts of a Wanderer.
Yeah, great title. Great title.
Thank you.
Then you didn't say, well, okay, I'm done. I'm not writing anymore. Thank goodness I got my book out of me. I'm going to go on with life. You're like, okay, I need to write another book.
Right. Well, then I started thinking about, if the purpose of this book was to let people know they're not alone, right now I'm struggling with my kid. I bet you other people are.
Yeah.
And so my next book, it is not like a parenting advice book because I don't do that. But again, my kid has autism and we didn't know, and it was a struggle to try and get it. And the worst part about any struggle in life really is being alone.
Yeah.
Is not knowing other people are struggling too. So my next book is actually about her. It's from pregnancy up till grade 6, I want to say we did, before it was published. And so, yeah, it's the good, the bad, the how the heck did we get to where we are. And also my best friend shared her story because her son is very similar to my daughter, and had a lot of different struggles, especially with the school board and getting supports and our healthcare system and trying to navigate. So, and then at the end, we added in some like helpful things that I wish we would have known, or like worksheets that would help to prepare for a doctor's appointment kind of thing. And that one's called A Mother's Truth.
Love it. So good.
And my kid actually did the cover for that book.
Oh my goodness.
She looks at it now. It's so funny. She looks at it now. She's like, ugh, I could do that so much better. I'm like, ugh, well, you did it 10 years ago, so deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, that's so incredible. She must be proud of herself though, as especially in the moment, having like, seeing that in print or whatever. Like it just beautiful.
I always say I gotta write a part 2 to it. And I have like notes from times because thinking back is hard, and I'm like, I'm gonna take notes as I went. And I did for a little bit, but life.
So. Yeah. Work, life. Busy. I know it's hard, but I think it's all stored there in your brain somewhere that when the time comes, you'll be able to revisit that and then see how things have transpired and changed over the years. And like, it's to me always incredible people's origin story in a way, right? Like just where it starts and how it just like sometimes it's planned and people like pursue something, and sometimes they just like, oh, I'm going to do this. and it launches something incredible, right? I'm sure probably at that time you weren't thinking, oh, I think I'll be a podcaster and like,
right. Not even a little bit. Yeah. So that was, the first book was published 2017. And so I was like, and I started writing the next one. The next one was published 2018. And then I took a bit of a hiatus because I had cancer. So, life.
Yeah. Things to take care of and pay attention to. And
and I mean, I never really stopped writing per se, but I wasn't really focused on doing any of that. It was more just whatever was happening. And then I did my first kids book. I can't remember the year it was published, but like a couple years after. And during that time, it would be 2021. I was like, well, during that time, I kind of played around with the idea of having a podcast or whatever. And me and my friend did a couple of episodes here and there. And we're like, that idea doesn't fit. That idea doesn't fit. So, and then 2021 rolls around and I talked to this other person that I can't even remember how I was introduced to him because I didn't know him. I was introduced from a friend of a friend. And he's like, well, you write about mental health. Why don't you talk about mental health? I'm like,
a light bulb.
Okay. And then he's like, and then you just have to consider, are you going to do it by yourself? Or are you going to have guests? I'm like, Oh, well, I tried to do a podcast by myself and it kind of was a little bit boring. It's like, so interview guests. Huh. Okay. So start researching how the heck do you get guests? Because that's a whole other can
Right.
of worms. And I found a couple different sites. I put out, a request for guests, thinking, I don't know how this is going to work. Right when that first request went out, I had 50 replies, all very valid, great, like matched perfectly. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do 2 a week. Holy moly. And it has now been 5 years of doing it. And I absolutely love it. It's crazy that it's been that long and that I always have a wait list of guests, and I've kind of streamlined how I do it, and blows my mind.
Yeah, and it's incredible. But it goes to show that there is an appetite for conversations like that. And that people like, especially, I mean, I think it's not that there was less mental health issues, fewer mental health issues before the pandemic, but since then, it's just like, I think that shone a light on issues we already had. Do you know what I mean? And so I figure, like, I think people are speaking up more often, are more willing to share, want to hear about other people's experiences, want to understand what they're going on with for themselves. It just feels more open than, like, if I think of myself as a young person, like, you just didn't talk about anything.
Right? You did not talk about it. Like back in the 90s, us 1900s babies, as the one girl at work likes to say. She likes to remind us that we're all 1900s.
Own it.
You did not talk about that stuff, because if you did, you were shunned. You kept it in the house. You didn't, you were broken if you couldn't just handle life. Like, come on, get up, just handle your crap. But now it's like, wait a minute. We know that it's not as simple as get up and just handle it. We know that something else is going on, which is huge improvement.
Yeah. And I feel like there's, at least I think of it like everyone has something. Like, and I don't want to,
because we all have brains, people, which means our brains are going to have bad days.
Yeah, we're going to have bad days. We don't know what somebody else is suffering physically, mentally, whatever it is. And I just feel like everyone's carrying something, and some people are more open, some are less so, but it can account for some behaviors that are maybe, or a change in behavior, or all those things. So I think it just means we all have to be more conscious of each other, and I think it's a really good thing that we can be open. I mean, I talk about menopause all the time because I'm like, I got the brain fog. Sorry, like it's a real thing. Or the hot flash will come on. I'm like, I'm just okay.
I am not looking forward to that time. I'm not quite there yet. I'm going one in case it happens. But I'm getting there.
So much more information now, and because we're talking about it. And like, I asked my mom about it. She's turning 93.
Wow.
I asked her, like, well, what kind of like symptoms did you have when you were younger? Because apparently you will have the similar. And she says, oh, I don't remember having any symptoms. No, that is not true. You just didn't talk about them, and you have forgotten about them now.
Yeah.
But you 100% did. And so I started grilling her on different ones. She goes, well, yeah, I think I had hot flashes. Like, she's sort of, but it was not a topic for conversation.
Oh, geez. I remember my mother-in-law, she would like open up the front door in the dead of winter and like fan herself. We're all sitting there going, shut the door.
Freezing. Yeah. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's just, a whole other thing. But like everything else in our lives, I think the more we talk about it, the more we are like, okay, this is normal. I'm not weird. I'm not broken. Other people are experiencing this too. And we can laugh about it, but we can also try to treat those things and try to find ways to feel better, I guess. Like, okay. So can you also talk about your newest book?
Oh, I thought you never asked. No, I knew you would. So it is called Goodbye Too Soon, A Family's Lost by Drug Overdose. And for anyone who might know me, they'll be like, Goodbye Too Soon. That sounds familiar. because it is. So 5 years ago, I released a book called Goodbye Too Soon about my brother's death by drug overdose. And then as time went on, I decided, hey, I want to make a movie out of this. And so I'm talking to Mickey, my publicist, and he's like, well, what are you doing for your next book? I don't know right now. Got a couple ideas. I have a kid's book written. I'm waiting for my artist, my kid, to finish the darn pictures.
Okay.
Every day I go to work and I go, "What are you eating dinner?" I leave because that's the picture she needs to draw. And then I go to work and I come home and she goes, "I didn't draw." And I go, "Awesome." So,
love it. The urgency of it.
Right? I told her, I'm like, you have 1 year to finish the pictures for it, and then I need to like start doing the publish process. But yeah, so then I told Mickey, hey, I want to make a movie out of this book. And so because I didn't have anything else planned, he goes, well, how do you feel about re-releasing it with new content? I said, that's probably a really good idea, because 5 years ago when it first came out, I had written it pretty much right after his death. Yeah. So emotions were very raw. And I hadn't went through all the different therapy and the stuff I needed to deal and cope with it. So he goes, okay, so to re-release a book, for it to be a new release, 10 to 20% new content. Like, I could do that. I could totally do that. That's like 10, 15 more pages. Yeah. I did 50% new content.
Of course.
Because go big or go home.
Because you have things to say.
Yeah. Apparently I could have just written a whole new book, but I needed direction, which came in the form of re-releasing this one. So I dove way deeper into the research of addiction, into the research of, like, say, the bullying side of things and how that could lead to it. And I did dig deeper in the emotions because, like I said, I went to therapy. I dealt with a lot of stuff. Learned I had CPTSD, and some of that stemmed from my brother and some of that stemmed from other stuff. And so all of that I was able to push into this book, even added photos. We got pictures in there now. I was a really cute baby. I was a little chubby, cute baby. And so it's almost like a whole brand new book, I think. And so that comes out June 20th, which would have been my brother's birthday.
Oh,
so I picked that day. And so, yeah, it sounds familiar, but honestly, even if you read the first one, there's so much new content in this one that it would definitely be worth the read. And yeah, so now I'm working on a movie script for it.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. I love, like, it's all coming full circle in my mind for you. Like, writing as a kid, getting everything down, journaling, expressing yourself. And then when your brother dies and you have to write about it, of course you do, right? It just makes so much sense. As a book coach, I coach people writing memoirs often. And one of the things I often do tell them is sometimes it's too soon to write it. Like, there's a part that needs to, and you should do that, which you've done. But sometimes you're so close to it. And then now when you've gone through everything else and you can look back at that first version and you have so much more to say and talk about and to develop it. Like, it makes sense to me that the need to write it early and then the need to come back to it with a new perspective, and you're in a new place in your life too. But the whole time you're honoring that relationship you have with him. Yeah. Right? Like, it's really beautiful.
Exactly. So I'm super excited. You can pre-order it on Amazon. I really am very excited for this new edition because it really dug so much deeper. I'm like, wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. I didn't even realize that this was going to happen. And then I'm looking at, like, your word count, your page count. I'm like, wow, I have surpassed my goal. Excellent. I'm going to keep on writing.
Keep on going. And it will help so many people, right, who have gone through similar things, whether it was a drug addiction or some other reason that they've lost somebody in their life. I think it's so powerful. Like, I think we've talked about this, that I lost my brother too, but like because of an accident, but sudden, right? So unexpected, young, like it's a kind of loss that is hard to express, but then when you read somebody else's experiences, you can connect and go, okay, like, that's normal reaction. That's like, other people feel that too, like all the things that you go through. And it's going to be so powerful for people to read about those experiences and hear what you have to say about it, because it's like I say, it's a hard topic. Like death in any way is very
right.
difficult.
Exactly.
But in your case, like that, a brother who's, you probably saw some things happening, and I mean, you're kind of like, what are you gonna do?
I was the little sister. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the little sister.
Exactly. And when I was writing this one, I wanted to add some stuff in about loss while they're alive. So I learned this term. I can't remember who came up with the term, but I learned this term, ambiguous grief. So it's a term that they have been using. And the actual person who came up with it is in the book. I do cite them, but I don't know off the top of my head. Ambiguous grief is losing somebody while they're still alive. So they use it a lot with, say, somebody who has an addiction because they're alive physically, but mentally they are just not really there. Or even people with dementia, right?
Yes,
because again, you're going through a complete grief. You haven't lost them physically, but they're gone. Except for potentially brief moments, which awesome. So that was really cool, that ambiguous grief that I talk about in this edition that I didn't know anything about in the first edition. So like I said, there's tons of new stuff. But I thought that was very cool that they had a term for it, because I was like, I had referenced in the book quite a few times, I lost him years before I lost him. Yeah. And I'm like, is that something that, like, let's dig a little deeper now. Where are we going?
100%, right? Like, I feel like that so many people can relate to that with Alzheimer's and lots of other reasons why somebody is separated apart from the family or their
there's different mental illnesses that do prevent people from living with their family because they just can't seem to find the right medication or the right therapies, and nothing's helping them. I'm thinking of like things like schizophrenia potentially, where they end up living in a facility because it just isn't going to work in our typical sense. But so it's hard to watch people that you love go through these things, and you want to help, but you can't.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think this is so powerful. But I feel like what you're doing on your podcast and with your writing is so important, because you talk so openly about all of the issues, and you maintain your sense of humor, but it's always like I can feel the heartfeltness of what you talk about, but also just like I do feel like it's a way to normalize it, and it's a way to let people be open about these, and hopefully like have those conversations with the people they love, right? Like it doesn't have to be super, super dark. I know that's really, really hard especially if a loss is fresh. Super hard. So hard. But as time passes, I think it's really important to talk about the people we lost in whatever form that is.
Yeah. And it's so cool on the podcast, because like I've had people who are like, I'm not sure how much of it I want to share. I'm like, okay, cool. You share what you want. And as we're going, then afterwards they'll be like, I can't believe I shared that much. I'm like, you let it. They're just like, but it was just so easy. It's like sitting down with a friend for coffee and you're just talking. And I'm like, that is the vibes I want to give, because that's what makes you feel good. I'm not here to be a therapist. I'm here to just have a conversation. I might learn something, which is great. And then the other super cool thing is, because I have repeat guests, there's somebody in particular, as you were talking, that I've had on the show a couple times, and I had him on the show kind of fairly close to after his wife died. And so you could see the demeanor and everything. And then I had him on a couple more times a few years later, because like I said, 5 years of the show. So over the next couple of years, and you could see that obviously the loss is always going to hurt, but the coping that has went into it, and the strategies that he uses, and we've talked about that, like different strategies they've come up with as a family to keep her spirit alive but continue living life. And it's really cool to see the progression in different people.
Yeah, that's incredible. And that's amazing for listeners who have been following you and maybe get to hear those guests that come back and have new perspective. And to me, it just shows that, like, I mean, I don't really believe in the whole time heals all, whatever. Like the loss is always the loss, right? Like you're always going to have pain about that. But like you said, you have strategies moving forward.
It's funny you say that, because I've referenced that in the new edition of the book.
Yeah.
Where I literally say that line. I'm like, that's not it at all. It's like you have I equate it to an actual wound on a person. I say it much more eloquently and elaborately in the book, so read the book. But the short version is you have this cut and it is bleeding and it is raw and you put a Band-Aid over it and you put the polysporin or whatever and it heals and you have a scar. You can use your arm. It doesn't hurt anymore on a regular basis, but you can see the scar and you can be reminded of what happened to get that scar.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, that is how it is for sure.
Yeah, it's not healed, but it's healed-ish.
Yeah.
Livable.
Yeah. You've learned how to live with it instead of despite it, I guess. Like it's part of the reality. I don't know.
Exactly.
It's hard to describe.
I say it much more eloquently in the book, so go read the book.
We'll read the book and because we're writers, we have to put it down.
Right? I can talk, but like when I have time to write it, it's much nicer.
I know. We have time to edit our words when I was teaching a class last night and I was wordless. I was like, this is the brain fog happening because words I know were not coming to me.
I get that at work. I'll be on the phone like with a customer. I'll be talking and be like, hold on, my brain's resetting.
It's happening. It's processing.
Yeah. My kid likes to say, oh, the Wi-Fi just reset.
Ooh, I like that one. I might use that.
You can totally use it. But that's her favorite. Wi-Fi is resetting.
Amazing. Oh, well, I just want to thank you so much for coming to chat again and best of luck with the new release of the book. And I think it's going to be really powerful for folks. And I can't wait to have another chat with you down the road. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And definitely we'll chat again. Your show, my show, both shows.
Sounds good.
Crossover episode.
Oh, I like that idea.
I've never done one of those yet.
That'd be fun. Try that. That would be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Randi-Lee. I believe writers need sisu, strength, courage, and determination to get their projects done, and I can help you access your sisu. Are you working on a novel or memoir? You don't have to do it alone. Join us in the Women Writing Circle. We meet bi-weekly for 90 minutes to get pages done. Or consider applying for an upcoming group book coaching program to develop the foundational elements of your story in a supportive community. These 8-week-long programs include weekly coaching calls, goal setting, craft discussion, and personalized feedback on writing tasks. If you'd prefer to work one-on-one, contact me about one of my coaching packages at lisakovalabookcoach.com. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to have a coffee break with us at Women Writing. Don't forget to subscribe to Women Writing on Substack. If you like this episode, share it with someone who needs a writing break and a little inspiration. Happy writing. Thank you to Michael Jensen for his original music and editing, and to Mia Jensen for the logo design.